I should
Right.
be introduced. I should
Yes,
be
somebody should
introducing
introduce
Christopher.
me because
Yeah.
nobody knows who I am.
No. Well, I'm afraid the co-host Ray was unable to be with us today, and so I have the very happy duty of perhaps duty isn't quite the right word either, but anyway, the very happy task of introducing Christopher Denman, that well-known comical poet who is going to talk about more comical poetry and I hope read some. Christopher, over to you.
Right. Okay. Well, welcome, friends. I see Judy's run away, but experience.
I'm still here. I can hear you.
Yeah. So right. I will be reading from one of somebody I discovered a couple of years ago. His name is Andrew Neil Blewett, and his wife published a book of his verse after he died, and it's done so well that they've brought out another one. Anyway, this is the first book, and it's called A Millipede with Gout. And if I read the poem that comes from, first of all, I thought, and then the poem's called Fellow Feeling. An elephant with earache feels sympathy, no doubt, for a kestrel with vertigo or a millipede with gout. I just,
I'm wondering what the second verse might have been like.
Well, he never wrote one, so we'll never know. No. I did have a religious one here. Where's it gone? It must be earlier on. Yes, it is.
Oh.
Sorry, I will find it eventually. Right, this is a rather longer one, and it's religious, so I hope the non-theists amongst you won't be too upset. It's called God Gets It Off His Chest. I'm God and I'm He, with a capital G, or the lowercase chaps have disbanded, and if nobody knows how at first I arose, well, neither do I, to be candid. But it seems though it's queer that I've always been here. As for kinsfolk, I fear have none. No father or mother, no sister or brother, just me and a ghost and a son. And I didn't apply for this job in the sky of producing the earth from a void, but the place was so bleak and I had a free week. I was at the time unemployed. I thought it divine, that concoction of mine, as I spun it around to inspect it. But the workings of fate I discovered too late. There was no one but me to direct it. But the greatest mistake I could possibly make was to put man and wife on the planet. It was soon overflowing with what they called knowing. Sorry, from what they called knowing, then I ruled I ever began it. Oh, the millions down there with their praises and prayer who implore me to bow down an ear and attend to their craving, confessing and raving, is a hell I can't tell you up here. The endless confessions of trivial transgressions, I've heard them so often before. To be fair, the Cistercians have novel diversions, but the rest are a terrible bore. Petitions are worse, in fact, they're a curse, as they tend to conflict and confuse me. So sometimes I say, to the devil and pray. I shouldn't, of course, so excuse me. To come back to the praises, I hate all the phases like Father Divine and Almighty, and my critical taste has never embraced the Te Deum, still less the Veneti. As a duty, it's drear, so I turn a deaf ear to confessions, petitions, and praise. But then nobody knows, as they say, as it shows, that I move in mysterious ways. I'd relinquish my post and retire with the ghost if my son would accept it instead, but he's long had his eye on returning to Zion and judging the quick and the dead. So it's all in the air till he's finished down there, and I'd say when I'm low now and then, I'll be here with the ghost and the heavenly host forever and ever. Amen.
That's very good.
He is very clever, I think.
I didn't catch the poet's name.
Andrew Neil Blewett.
Thank
I'll
you.
put it in the chat in a minute when somebody.
Of course you will. Yeah, you sure.
And what was the title of that poem? I got the first one about the millipede, but what was the title of that one?
God Gets It Off His Chest.
It's very
And
good.
I don't know why you thought that would offend the non-theists.
Well, I didn't. It was a joke.
Oh, sorry.
All right.
A pre-joke.
A pre-joke, yes. Right, I'll read another of his, even shorter than the first ones, this one. And then we'll ask you if you've got anything you'd like to share. This one's titled, I Think I Missed the Turning for the Opticians. I'm sure we must have left the town. I'm knocking fewer people down. There we are. No. Let's go round. Judy, do you have anything you'd like to share?
Yeah, I do. I don't know if you know of Gerard Benson, who was a Quaker poet. He died probably about 10 years ago now, but I was lucky enough to bump into him at Woodbrook on some completely other sort of course. And as one of the sort of lunchtime diversions, he read some of his poems. And I think one of my favorite ones I should tell you, he was one of the editors of Poems on the Underground.
Oh, right.
Are you seeing that the right way around?
Yes, we are.
Of mirroring. Yeah. Well, he was one of the editors of that. But
Wait a minute.
but the book he very sweetly sent me afterwards.
I'm coming.
Was called To Catch an Elephant. And his second book was called Evidence of Elephants, but we won't go into that one. But the poem I want to read you is called To Catch an Elephant. To catch an elephant requires patience and attention to detail. But any girl or boy should be able to master this method. It's quite simple. Physical strength is not necessary, nor is specialized knowledge, but you will require quick thinking, courage, a few simple skills, and of course, luck. If you're not a lucky person, don't even consider it, but purchase your elephant from a reputable dealer. You will need some buns, a stepladder, binoculars, blackboard and chalk, tweezers, a matchbox, unless you're already there. A matchbox, and unless you're already there, a ticket to India or Africa. Use can also be found for a small table, not to mention a good barrier cream and a sun hat. Note, for African elephants, you should use the larger kitchen size matchbox. Right, display the buns on the table. On the blackboard, write in large letters, free buns, jumbo offer. Having done so, climb up the ladder, which should be placed in the cover of a bombax tree, and wait. The binoculars may be used to scan the horizon, which is usually to be found some distance away where the sky and the earth meet. Elephants will eventually emanate. Keep very still. This is the crucial moment. The herd will approach, attracted by your notice. While they're choosing their buns, you should be choosing your elephant. Plump for the one with a nice flexible trunk and well-spaced ears. Now, when your elephant is picking up its bun, You could use cupcakes. It will be momentarily distracted. This is the time for action. With a practiced flick of the wrist, quickly reverse the binoculars and look through them at your selected elephant. Grasp it firmly with the tweezers, lift it gently, and place it in the matchbox, which should have been lined with cotton wool. Bless him.
Yeah.
Lovely man.
Yes. Right. So, Rosie, have you got anything?
Yes, I've chosen a couple, but I'd like to read Blame the Vicar by John Betjeman. It's rather long, but I'm only going to read the first.
We've got plenty of time. So.
When things go wrong, it's rather tame to find we are ourselves to blame. It gets the trouble over quicker to go and blame things on the vicar. The vicar, after all, is paid to keep us bright and undismayed. The vicar is more virtuous too than lay folk such as me and you. He never swears, he never drinks, he never should say what he thinks. His collar is the wrong way round, and that is why he's simply bound to be the sort of person who has nothing very much to do, but take the blame for what goes wrong and sing in tune at evensong. My husband is a vicar, and he would say he gets the blame at home for everything.
We can hear the laughter in the background.
Yes, he's obviously passing the door and heard that.
Yeah. Right. David, have you got anything?
Well, now that's a good question. I can't think where I have got any of my books with rhymes or poetry in. The only one that comes immediately to mind is a short verse from Ogden Nash, which is called Lather As You Go. Oh, I can think of another one. But Lather As You Go goes, beneath this slab, John Brown is stowed. He watched the ads and not the road. Slightly more macabre, there's here lies Leicester Moor, 4 slugs from a 44, no less, no more.
Shouldn't that be no fewer, no more?
That's it. Whether it should or should not, that's what the poem reads.
Well, it's one of the things I like about, Andrew Neil Blewett is the fact that he does use fewer when he's talking about knocking people down. It's, yes. Graham, are you able to, have you got a poem you want to share, or? You're muted,
You're on
so...
mute.
Right, well, I'll assume he's gone out of the room for a minute now.
Yeah.
I know Patsy hasn't got anything because...
Well,
Oh, you have?
Well, it depends what you count. My friend with the broken legs who's staying here was sorry for me because I hadn't got anything to share, and she sent something that it's on WhatsApp, which I'm a little less skilled in using. So I'll try and play it to you. But I'm just getting a picture of a guinea pig at the moment, so hold on a second. Right, it's called Colonization in Reverse, and it's written by a Miss Lou. Hang on.
What a joyful news, Miss Matty.
Can you see that?
Like my heart going burst. Jamaica people colonizing England in reverse. By the 100, by the 1,000, from country, and from town. By the shipload and the plane load, Jamaica is England bound. Then this a pour out of Jamaica. Every everybody future plan is to find one big time job and settle down in the motherland. What a island, what a people, man and woman, old and young. Then this a ton history upside it down. Now, you know, some of them don't even like to travel, you know. But for sure, then loyalty. They are the
I can't actually hear it very well. So is it? Hang on.
And week by week,
Oh, we shouldn't have done that. Sorry.
Countryman like a buyer to immigrate and populate the seat of the empire. Wanna see how it funny? Wanna see that on about? Jamaica people live in bad spread out of English people mouth. Yes, man, Lord Jesus. Boy, and when they catch England, you know, everybody we have them different one. Some will settle down and walk, and some will settle for the door. Now, Jane says the door not too bad. Cause them appear she £2 a week to find a job to suit her dignity. You know. I said Jane now go find a work. At the rate where she they look, cause all day long she sit down on Aunt Fran couch. This a read your storybook. What a development in England. They face the war and they brave the worst. But I want to know how them are gonna stand. Colonization.
Right.
So I couldn't hear most of that, so I don't know if it was really awful, in which case I do apologise.
Her laugh was wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
a really enjoyable laugh, if nothing else. But I couldn't make out what she was saying, so never mind. I've failed in you, I'm afraid. And I don't have a comic poem of my own.
No. Well,
Actually, you haven't failed us. That was just enjoyable. It was all warm and sunny.
yeah.
Well, that's
Anyway.
good.
Right. Anyway, I've got a couple more from the book A Millipede with Gout. This one's called Christmas Dinner. Use brandy when basting your poultry. A pint is considered propitious. You'll find it will quicken the taste of your chicken, and the gravy is simply delicious.
That's quite good.
And yes, another slightly seasonal one. This one's called Once Upon a Time. Now you know very well, Cinderella, you must dance with the prince at the ball, such a charming and handsome young fella, for your tale is familiar to all. My instructions confirm that my course is to conjure a coach from a pumpkin, transmogrify mice into horses, and produce a princess from a bumpkin. So gather the good and the vermin. Yes, I know that your mind is on marriage and taffeta, jewels and ermine, but first come the horses and carriage. A wave of my wand and before us is the equipage. Note the gold plating, complete with a coachman called Horace, a squire and a lady in waiting. Now you, at this point of the story, should be changed from a bore to a beauty, then depart for the palace and glory and become, I suspect, rather snooty. But today I'm rewriting the fable. The prince will take me for his puppet. I'll don my tiara and sable, and you, Cinderella, can op it.
I don't think I quite got the last couple of lines. Could you say?
Let me do it again. Sorry. Read the last verse again.
Yeah, thanks.
Right. But today I'm rewriting the fable. The prince will take me for his puppet. I'll don my tiara and sable, and you, Cinderella, can hop it.
Oh, that's better. Okay.
Judy, do you have another one?
Yeah, I've got a couple more. I just want to say I've been very lucky in my life, and one of my lifelong friends was a chap called Fred Metcalf from my local town. He went to school with my brother, and he ended up being a script writer for Eric and Ernie years ago. But he also wrote the Penguin Book of Jokes and the Penguin Book of Humorous Quotations. And there's masses of sort of two-liners in there, but I didn't even begin to try those because there were too many of them. But from Poems on the Underground, I'd like to read you a Spike Milligan poem. And it's called Look at All Those Monkeys. Look at all those monkeys jumping in their cage. Why don't they all go out to work and earn a decent wage? How can you say such silly things, and you a son of mine? Imagine monkeys travelling on the Morden to Edgware line. But what about the Pekingese? They have an allocation. Don't travel during the peak hour, it says on every station. My gosh, you're right, my clever boy. I never thought of that. And so they left the monkey house while the elephant raised its hat.
Good.
And if I may, unless somebody else has got one, I'd like to do a UA Fanthorpe and R.B. Bailey poem from, it's a sort of, it's slightly humorous, but it's more meant to be a love poem. Okay, Poems from me to you. And I just love this relationship. Anyway, the poem is called You. It doesn't say which of them wrote it, but it's called You. You, who make lists and then lose them, eat kosher wine gums and jelly babies, have to have gloves on the shortest journeys, lose your gloves, are always thirsty, love to laugh, are so easily moved to tears, yawn more loudly than anyone else in the world, can sleep at the drop of a hat, love mussels and scallops, love lobster and crabs, never eat lobster and crabs because they suffer so, whose glasses always need polishing, who never has a hanky to polish your glasses, always have at least 4 pens in your pocket in case a poem should occur, have no colour sense whatsoever, love wildflowers and know the songs of birds, collect binoculars and never use them, love torches of every kind, love maps, old churches, rivers, love swimming but never swim, hate carrots and all root veg, love dogs, adore cats, would like to own a snake, hate hot weather, hate being cold, love fizzy lemonade, forget pin numbers. How could anyone resist you?
Oh,
I think that was so sweet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Graham, have you got anything you'd like to share?
I didn't realise that we were expected to contribute to this. I thought it was going to be a 1-hour performance from Christopher.
Well, you know, if you're unlucky, that's what it was going to turn out to be.
No, I have discovered 2 poems that Sarah Pearce and I used at Avenue House, which you probably know anyway, but I think they're worth repeating. One is Misalliance by Flanders and Swan. Donald Swan, of course, was a Quaker, and Michael Flanders, in this poem, as in many others, demonstrates his tremendous gift for words and rhymes. It's about 2 plants, honeysuckle and bindweed, which apparently climb in different directions, one clockwise, one anti-clockwise. And the poem, of course, best of all, sung by Flanders and Swan, but you can listen and appreciate the words when it's read. The fragrant honeysuckle spirals clockwise to the sun, and many other creepers do the same. But some climb anti-clockwise. The bindweed does, for one, or convolvulus, to give her proper name. Rooted on either side a door, one of each species grew, and raced towards the window ledge above, each corkscrewed to the lintel in the only way it knew, where they stopped, touched tendrils, smiled, and fell in love. Said the right-handed honeysuckle to the left-handed bindweed, "Oh, let us get married. If our parents don't mind, we'd be loving and inseparable, inextricably entwined. We'd live happily ever after," said the honeysuckle to the bindweed. To the honeysuckle's parents it came as a shock. "The bindweeds," they cried, "are inferior stock. They're uncultivated, of breeding bereft. We twine to the right, and they twine to the left." Said the anti-clockwise bindweed to the clockwise honeysuckle, "We better start saving. Many a mickle makes a muckle. Then run away for a honeymoon, and hope that our luck'll take a turn for the better," said the bindweed to the honeysuckle. A bee who was passing remarked to them then, "I've said it before and I'll say it again, consider your offshoots. If offshoots there be, they'll never receive any blessing from me. Poor little sucker, how will it learn, when it is climbing, which way to turn? Right, left, what a disgrace! Or it may go straight up and fall flat on its face." Said the right-hand thread honeysuckle to the left-hand thread bindweed, "It seems that against us all fate has combined. Oh my darling, oh my darling, oh my darling Columbine, thou art lost and gone forever, we shall never intertwine." Together they found them the very next day. They had pulled up their roots and just shriveled away, deprived of that freedom for which we must fight, to veer to the left or to veer to the right.
Ray, that's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's another short one by Alfred Noyes, which is appropriate for a rather gloomy, grey day. Everyone grumbled, the sky was grey. We had nothing to do and nothing to say. We were nearing the end of a dismal day, and there seemed to be nothing beyond. Then Daddy fell into the pond, and everyone's face grew merry and bright, and Timothy danced for sheer delight. "Give me the camera, quick, oh quick, he's crawling out of the duckweed, click!" Then the gardener suddenly slapped his knee and doubled up, shaking silently, and the ducks all quacked as if they were daft, and it sounded as if the old drake laughed. Oh, there wasn't a thing that didn't respond when Daddy fell into the pond.
If anybody wants to max out on Flanders and Swan, I do have the complete set of
Oh.
audio. They're audio, not DVDs. So if you want to have a little Flanders and Swan, I found that in a charity shop. I was thrilled to bits because I
Yeah.
didn't know that, because they were so long ago. But I
Yeah.
remember from my childhood listening to.
Mm.
I don't know how we listened to them, because I'm very familiar with them all. So my parents must have had records of them, because I can't think how else I knew of them.
Perhaps they were popular on the radio.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
Yeah.
I've heard
also,
them quite often.
I've got them on tape somewhere, I think. So, you know,
I certainly knew that one from the left-handed honeysuckle. And
yes.
to sing, could have sung along with Graham once you got to the said the. And I guess we had a couple of their albums. It was they became famous with the West End show At the Drop of a Hat, didn't they? That's
Yeah.
the name of one of their albums.
Yeah.
And At the Drop of Another Hat.
Yeah. Just thinking along the same genre and about the same time. Oh, what was his name? Lenny something. He used to be at the Establishment Club, and he used to sing that song about poisoning pigeons in the park.
Yes.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I wonder if I can find it quickly
Yeah.
on Tinterweb.
You have a look and I'll read out another of
Yeah, got them. When you're ready after
Right.
that.
Okay. I'll just read Guardian Angels from Dragonflies Have a Problem. Mark and Matthew, Luke and John, guard the bed that I lie on. But while I'm having it away, you needn't feel obliged to stay. Right.
Sorry, it wasn't Lenny something, it was Tom Lehrer, of course.
Yes.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
So I've got the lyrics. Spring is here. Spring is here. Life is skittles and life is beer. I think the loveliest time of the year is spring. I do, don't you? Of course you do. But there's one thing that makes spring complete for me and makes every Sunday a treat for me. All the world seems in tune on a spring afternoon when we're poisoning pigeons in the park. Every Sunday you'll see me, my sweetheart and me, as we poison the pigeons in the park. When they see us coming, the birdies all try and hide, but they still go for peanuts when coated with cyanide. The sun's shining bright. Everything seems all right when we're poisoning pigeons in the park. We've gained notoriety and caused much anxiety in the Audubon Society with all our games. They call it impiety, a lack of propriety, and quite a variety of unpleasant names. But it's not against any religion to want to dispose of a pigeon. So if Sunday you're free, why don't you come with me and we'll poison the pigeons in the park? And maybe we'll do in a squirrel or two while we're poisoning pigeons in the park. We'll murder them all amid laughter and merriment, except for the few we take home to experiment. My pulse will be quickening with each drop of strychnine we feed to a pigeon. It just takes a smidgen to poison a pigeon in the park. That's a bit darker when it's read and not sung. Apologies for that. Can I share with you a wonderful word I discovered this morning? It was mentioned on the news, and it's scurryfunging. Scurryfunging. Scurryfunging?
Not heard of it. What does it mean?
It means that thing that you do when people arrive unexpectedly and you rush around the house, putting things behind curtains and under the bed to make the room seem tidy. Isn't that a gorgeous word though? Scurryfunging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I've just come across the short one that gives the title to this book. It's called Help. Carrot flies live on carrots. Parrot flies live on parrots. Dragonflies have a problem.
So that you say it gave the title of the book. Which book?
Help.
Sorry, me. Oh, David, you were asking.
No, you said that it gives the title. You've just said it, the title of the book is Help.
Yeah, the title of the book is Dragonflies Have a Problem. It's the second book of Andrew Blewett's things. And that's,
okay. Dragonflies have a problem.
Yeah. I assume you're all familiar with the film Brief Encounter. This one's called Brief Encounter, Black Widow Spider. He dates with her, she meets with him. He mates with her, she eats him.
I can share
Yeah.
a seasonal poem. It's called My Christmas Survey, written by Lucy Wainwright, age 12.
Oh.
My mum and dad said, Lucy, it's homework time for you. So here's my special survey of Christmas 92. I went down to the high street to see who I could find to answer Christmas questions. I hoped they wouldn't mind. The friendly looking grandma had lovely sparkling eyes. She said that she liked Christmas cake and hot Tesco mince pies. The lady with the pushchair and shopping bags in tow said she liked the actor Richard Gere beneath her mistletoe. The workman with the scruffy coat had not a lot to say. Christmas was a time off work, and that was without pay. The schoolboy had two pointed ears and a very dirty face. He said, Scotty, beam me up, and vanished without a trace. And finally, a postman came walking up to me. He said he liked the presents around the Christmas tree. I came home from my survey. It seemed quite sad to say that no one mentioned our Lord Jesus, born on Christmas Day.
Oh.
I'll give you another one. This one's called If. If you've been in the lair of a sore-headed bear and studied kung fu and karate, if you've struggled for life with a cannibal's wife and you've been to an acid house party, if you've lived through the Brits, clung on to your wits, and you've undergone SAS training, if you've been at Heathrow in a strike or go slow and you've gone on your way uncomplaining, if you've fought in the war, faced the Africa Corps and outwitted Sardinian banditti, if you've scrummed it at Rugger and mastered a mugger, then you're fit for the sales in the city.
Oh, yeah.
Can I offer a topical one
Yes,
from
yes.
another one from Gerard Benson
Mm.
called The Injection? I lined up near the door just behind Maggie Moore. We'd rolled up our sleeves and I could see her arm, all freckly like Steve's, and rather thin. No harm in asking, I thought. So I said, are you scared? A bit, she said. Are you? No, I said, but I'd been taught not to lie. So I said, well, that's not really true. I am a bit too. I stood with my arm bared and thoughts whizzing round in my head. One at a time we went in. Last of this batch, said the nurse. She rubbed my skin with something cold, then like a pin, a little sharp scratch. It didn't really hurt, not much. Rolling down my sleeve, I went back to our class. And I was going to sit by Steve, but there was Maggie in her place. And to my surprise, she had tears in her eyes. It wasn't as bad as that, I said. She burst out crying at her table in year 4. I gave her a gum and sat by her. Her face was on fire. It wasn't really bad, she said. I was just frightened. And Miss Lyon came over. Oh, I'll leave her with you. You're doing so well. So I sat by Maggie and we had a chat. Not much about this and that. And that day a silence was broken because I'd never spoken to Maggie before.
Oh,
That's good. Mm.
I tried to find a book I used to read to my daughter called There's a hippopotamus on our roof and he's eating cake. But it's buried somewhere down in the cellar. I couldn't find it.
I'm thinking of the Now We Are Six poems and all of those lovely ones. And I don't have, I do have a copy of Now We Are 60 somewhere, but I
Yeah.
probably can't find it.
Are you thinking of a particular poem from it?
I enjoyed, no, I enjoyed all the Christopher Robins poems, and I enjoyed Now We Are 60, but I can't think of a specific poem. Have you got one? Have you got one that you like that you can share?
I will just see if I can get it down off the shelf. I'm not very tall, and I'm not supposed to climb on ladders.
This is quite alarming, actually. We're all waiting for a terrible scream.
Now we are 60. Here we are.
It would be better if we could see you climbing rather than. Oh, there we are.
There you go.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I'm very fond of this. It was given to me by my best friend in school, who sadly is no longer with us, and I'm no longer 60 either. So, but I don't know. They're all
a bit wrong.
Have a little rummage. Talk amongst yourselves or read another poem. While
give us another one, Christopher.
I think it's nice to know how many people enjoy reading poetry to themselves. You know, I think I find that quite inspirational, actually. I admit comic poetry isn't what I usually read, but I like really old-fashioned things like, you know, a narrative poem. I love narrative poems, even when they were about quite unsuitable topics, and they stay in my mind for a long time. I think I find it comforting. It's a bit like when you memorize passages of the Bible in a way. It's always there. It's part of the fabric of you, I think. Which is hardly the same thing as reading a comic poem. I do apologize.
I've got one here called Disillusionment. My opinion of man and his creeds, I remember becoming detractory the day I saw turnips and Swedes go into a jam-making factory.
Does put you off a bit.
Yes.
That reminds me of my sister when she worked in a jam factory in Dublin during the school holidays, and she said her job was to pick out all the dead wasps from the fruit as it went along the conveyor belt. I was thinking how many wasps' legs, you know, ended up in the jam. Anyway. Hopefully it all got boiled out.
Yeah.
Here's one. It's called All at Sea. There once was an old geezer who fancied a cruise in the hope that it would banish his post-Christmas blues. But the brochures were so full of sun and champagne that they jumbled his daydreams and addled his brain. There were so many places he wanted to see, from the frozen Antarctic to sunny Capri. And the wider the choices of every kind, the less he was able to make up his mind. Should he snorkel with stingrays off Florida's Keys, or sail to Hawaii and suntan his knees, or broaden his outlook in classical Greece, or sample the seafood in Sydney or Nice? His long-suffering sister said, "Give us a break. It doesn't matter which package you take. They're all much the same, and the sea is the sea in Jamaica or Cape Town or Trincomalee."
Wow. Well, coming to the end of our session for today, unless anybody's got anything else they desperately want to share. No, right. Okay.
Well, I think it was a really nice thing to do. I enjoyed it anyway.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Right. Well, it's worth getting up then.
I'm glad you remembered, Christopher.
Well,
In
yes,
fact,
it was. Yeah.
could we perhaps think we've in the past in our sewing session on a Thursday afternoon, and 50% of this group goes to the sewing session, so they know this already. We have introduced a bit of music sharing, so perhaps we could bring some poems along as well on a Thursday afternoon whilst we're doing our thing. And especially the lighter sort of poem, it would be nice.
Yeah.
Nice idea, Judy. Yeah, for the crafting
Yes,
group.
well, I mean, I'm lucky that the Allfield Poetry Group that used to meet at Avenue House before lockdown, we still meet online. So I should now be having poetry 2 days a week rather than just one. So, anyway, next week I think we go back to well, it may not be as serious as I think it might be. Haven't we got Chris Wilmore talking on
Yes,
churches together in Bristol? So
yeah, we're very privileged. It is the only Friday in the year that he's got free.
she's got free.
She's got free. Sorry.
Right.
So it's good thing I found that out before next week.
Yes.
Okay. Perhaps I better start using they all the time to be on the safe side. Yes.
Right.
Sorry, Christopher, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's fine. Well,
Have you got a parting shot for us?
well, I could reach. Yeah, there was. Where is it gone? Yes, this is another religious one. It's called He. He has a name. He has a head. His blood and flesh are used as bread. He has a house. He has a land. No man his peace can understand. He has a voice. He has a word, and of himself he's but a third. He has no sire, he has no dam, but speak his name, I am, I am. He has his brights, he has his day, he knows no night, nor do they. The once he died, but straight up rose, though where he is, God only knows.
Oh, lovely.
Okay. Well, I hope you all have a good couple of days, and I will see some of you next week.
Yes. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Christopher.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
Bye.
Lovely to see you all.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yes. Bye.